Hey guys, Jeff here, Dice Hitters. As you can see, I'm sporting my Diamondbacks hat. We just won the wild card from the Brewers, and now we're off to the Dodgers. A smart man once sat there and said, worry about the things that you can change. And the stuff that you can't change, you're just going to have to let it go. So let's look at craps. There are many things that intertwine together so that we can sit there and win. You have mindset. That's something for Dr. Phil to talk about. How much alcohol did you have to drink today before you played craps? Is your wife mad at you today before you played craps? Did the dealer just scold you for something that you really don't know why you got scolded for? All that has to do with the mindset. And that can change the way that you sit there and roll. There's number two thing is your dice set. And I've been talking about dice sets now. I think I have 4 or 5 videos on dice sets just recently. I'm going to do more in the future because I don't think that's talked about enough. Find the dice set that works for you. The last thing is your grip set. I've showed you grip sets before, and those are the ones that I do because they work for me. I'm going to show you other ones that you might sit there and say, hey, I'm going to try that and see if it doesn't improve my craps game. So there's 3 things. I'm not going to talk about the mindset thing. That's for Dr. Phil. But talked about the dice set. Let's talk about the grip set. And the final thing that you'd have, if you could get all 3 of those down, is your landing zone. Even 3 out of the 4, 2 out of the 4. It makes for you to sit there and be a better player, and you're going to come out a winner. So I'm going to show you the dice sets that I use. I'm also going to show you some other ones that other people use and they like. It doesn't make it wrong that I don't use it, but find something that's comfortable for you. Just like the dice sets. I've shown you the ones that I do. I've proven that they work. But you've got to sit there and do the homework and find one that works best for you. So without further ado, I'm going to show you some different dice sets plus the ones that I use. Up close and personal. That way you can actually see it. And hopefully that makes your game better. The biggest thing about any dice set is that if it's uncomfortable for you to use, I would at least try it. And if you're like still uncomfortable, go to something that feels comfortable. You want something that is natural. You want to find something that just kind of comes out of your hand without any problems whatsoever. The dice set I use primarily with the dice all the way together, 2 fingers down. And I just put the middle finger there for dexterity. And most of the time I throw it, and I try to not to put a spin on this throw. This throw is not for spinning, at least for me when I throw it. It's just like I would say a tea bag that you're trying to sit there and dip into tea and then throw it in the trash can. So it's kind of bloop, 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 and throw it. And hopefully with that, the dice should just kind of sail through the air with the greatest of ease. It's the man in the flying trapeze. And land and then sit there and tumble. But this is mine. You can even call it the dice setter grip. I mean, I wouldn't be a little bit, I wouldn't be mad at all. But 2 fingers, middle finger for dexterity, and just out. The other one I use a lot is the backhand one. This is if you don't want to have a lot of spin on the dice at all. But you sit there and just a small little bit of a spin. Pull your hand back so you always have the same amount. And you're going to sit there and let go of the thumb and leave your fingers alone. So it's going to be your thumb moving, your fingers are going to stay. I don't use that one very much. The other one I use is called the cutting edge. And Bone Thrower is the one that showed this one, and I really liked it. But the hardest part for people to do is learn how to rock it on the edge because you're not allowed to touch the dice with both hands. And now, when you sit there and pull it back, you're going to have a lot of spin. And the release time would make it more spin or less spin. It's up to you on what you want to do. Another thing I do on a bouncy table, I'll be playing R1. So the table will be thrown this direction. I will sit there and hold the cut edge, and I'll just have the dice just kind of tumble out of my hands, just like that. Most of the time I do the all 7 set. When I do that, they do have a table at Ellis that they call the trampoline. R1, holding on the cut edge, and you're just going to basically kind of like this and have your hand stop, and the dice are going to come tumbling after. That table is so bouncy that the rules of hitting the back don't even apply. They don't even care. They don't. It's just that bouncy. You lose dice off the table all the time. Forever, you'll lose dice off the table. Another one is a 2-finger grip. And that's just when you come in right here and throw it. This one here to me just hurts. I'm a mechanic, but to me, it's not comfortable at all, but I've seen people do it. You can even come up here, 2-finger grip. Another one is a 3-finger grip. And again, this is not going to have much of a spin on it. It's just going to be out there. Another one that they have is called the Ice Tongue grip, Ice Tongue. And this one here, if you hold it just right, you can sit there and really get, a good spin on it. If you want a forward spin, I can't imagine you having a backward spin, so it's going to be a forward spin. And again, these are ones I don't use, but they're out there. Ice Tongue. And you can flip it out there. And it's different than the 2-finger grip. The 2-finger grip would be further down the dice and just out there. This one's going to be kind of more in the center. And you can use your wrist to flip it out. And this is another one I saw the bone thrower use. And it's called the claw. I think he even called it the claw. But you just basically wrap everything around it. You have an index finger, you have a pinky finger, you have 2 here, and then your thumb. And you can just go poof. But all the people I've thrown with, I think their biggest problem that I've ever seen is the landing zone. It's truly not the grip. The biggest problem I have is not my grip or my dice set. Mine's got to be the landing zone. But for those of you that wanted different grips to use, these are the grips. There's plenty more. There's a stackable one. You can throw it in line. You can throw it in line like this. There's plenty of other ones. Once you get this down, this feels great. You got your dice set that works. When you focus in on that landing zone. Next week, I will sit there and show you some more dice sets. You sit there and say, Jeff, I've used all the ones that you've shown. Well, hang on to your hat. We got more to show. I'll show that to you next week. If there was a grip that I did not mention, put it in the comments. I know there's got to be at least 8 grips that I did not mention. But only put it in the comments if you use it. You're like, hey, you forgot this one, and this is how I use it. And give a description on how to, I know you can't post a picture on there like Facebook, but sit there and say, hey, you didn't mention this, but this is the grip I use. That way we can all learn from each other. But those are the grips that I know. And like I said, I know there's more. And if you're having a problem with your grip, you're like, arthritis or whatever, one of those has got to work for you. I would imagine if you have arthritis, the claw has got to be probably the easiest. It's just like pinching things, like you're grabbing onto things. Simple. You're not going to have much movement this way. Depending on how you release it, depends on how close they come together. But you can work on that as you're working on your landing. So there you have it. That was this week's whole video was on grips, things that we can sit there and change to impact our game to make it so that we become winners. Like I said, I can't do anything about the mindset, but we can definitely do something about the dice set and the grip set. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. And I will be in Vegas next weekend. I also will be in Vegas for Halloween. We'll be at a VIP Halloween party and a slot tournament as well. And I also will be there for Formula One. So if you want to sit there and throw some dice, just let me know. You know how to do it. DiceSetters@gmail.com. And we can meet up and throw some dice together. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.